So thanks everyone for joining, and I hope you're enjoying the event so far. As Lee said, for anyone I haven't met before, hasn't attended some of our webinars, I'm Cordy, I'm Marketing Director at MBS. So we've obviously heard there from Adam around the emerging code and so on, and we've heard a lot of issues around kind of marketing and product information today. I wanted to talk a little bit more about the wider kind of marketing picture and really think about what manufacturers can do to plan their marketing better, given all of these different things that are moving around in the ether at the moment, from COVID to digitization and everything else. So talk around a couple of themes of that, and then share a little tool that we've developed as well that will help manufacturers plan their content even better. So first point I wanted to make is this is not marketing. So if your organization still sees kind of marketing as brochures, advertising, magazines, and so on, you need to find a way of moving that mindset on. And unfortunately, it is something that we still do encounter, that kind of perception in the construction industry. And marketing has often been seen that way in the past, but we really do need to move on from that and think about what the modern marketing mix looks like. And for manufacturers, taking all of the things that we've been discussing over this conference into account, exactly what that route to market and that approach looks like. So what I would say really is that, you know, if you are a construction manufacturer and if one of your main marketing objectives is to get your products specified and ultimately ordered and installed on projects, then you really need a marketing strategy that is going to it can cover all the different activities that will help build awareness of your products and give them the best chance of ultimately making it into the specification. So from everything from whether it's PR to social media to digital product data to specification tools, there's a huge range of different channels and activities within that marketing mix now that exist to really push out there into the market to make people aware of your products and hopefully get them to choose them and select them on a project. So really that's how you should go about building your marketing strategies to achieve that objective. Now, I mentioned at the beginning that we're all under a whole set of new pressures, not just within the wider industry and within our own lives, but those are having an effect on the kind of the discipline of marketing as well. So these are seismic changes, really, from the regulatory changes that we've heard about from Dame Judith Hackett yesterday, and also what Adam was just unveiling there around the requirements for manufacturers to be transparent around their product information. We've obviously got the impact of COVID. We still don't know exactly what that's going to be, although we've obviously seen a huge amount of transformation in the last few months. We've got cultural changes, new ways of working, you know, changes within the industry. And we've also, as part of that, got new entrants and new generations of employees entering the market who have come from more of the digital kind of natives. And of course, the digitization. So the industry's been on a path to digitize over the last few years. We think that's accelerated significantly in the kind of 6 months since we've been in the world of COVID. So really, as a manufacturer, you've got to kind of adapt to all these pressures and all the different things that are going on. So how are you going to do that at the same time as continuing to shift product, which is presumably what you want to do in order to keep your business going and to drive growth, whilst making sure that you're accommodating for all of these different things? So I'd pose a couple of questions on that, really. So the first one is, we spend a lot of time talking to specifiers and to manufacturers and with our various research activities in MBS and understanding what it is that specifiers want from manufacturers. And the first question I'd pose to manufacturers on the line today is, are you solving problems? So this is a key theme that we get from specifiers, architects, designers. They are one of the most sold to audiences out there. And they continually tell us that what they want from manufacturers is for you to help them solve their problems. So collaborate with them on their projects and come up with solutions to whatever design challenge it might be, rather than necessarily trying to give them the hard sell on why your product is the right one for them. This theme comes out across everything that we that really when we speak to specifiers, and there are many tools and opportunities out there to do that and to collaborate in that way, rather than just necessarily pushing a message out there. So that's the first question I'd pose. The second question is around Are you where your audience needs you to be? So again, and we've highlighted this on other webinars, the thing that specifiers and designers tell us repeatedly is that they need the right information from you at the right time on their journey. They probably don't want a sales call when they're not in the middle of a project that might need your product, but they do need to carry out CPD activity to maintain their professional memberships and learn about new technologies and what's out there. And they will search Google for products when they're looking for a product at a particular moment in time. And they do need your data and information about your product to be available at the moment they might need it in the format that they can use it in, with the information they require to be able to make them a decision. And Adam talked a little bit about that earlier in terms of making that information really, really clear and really transparent. And again, it's not just a regulatory requirement. That's something that we're being told day in, day out by the specifiers that we speak to. So all of that really begs the question is how is your organization adapting, and how is your marketing strategy adapting to all of these different forces that we've got kind of pushing us to change and develop? And there's a huge opportunity here for those organizations and manufacturers that are investing in this and keen to get this right. There's many opportunities now to take your products to market in different ways and in smarter ways that allow you to see all these things as an opportunity that will really help you achieve more. So we've shared lots of research and lots of data over the years at MBS, and we continue to push all that out. But what we thought was we needed a little tool that would help manufacturers to plan their marketing activities a little bit more easily. So what I want to unveil today is something we've developed called the Specification marketing cycle. So this is really designed to map out the key stages that product decision making goes through on a construction project, and what types of information those decision makers and specifiers need at each stage. And really, it's there to help manufacturers think about and to plan kind of what content and activities and tools they can leverage from a marketing point of view to help reach those people at the right time with the right information, in order to hopefully get better results and win more orders and specifications. So I'm just going to go through this quickly. It is something that we're going to be covering in more detail on other webinars, and we'll be pushing out there as a tool that you can utilize for your own activity. I will obviously say that every project is slightly different. Every manufacturer is different in terms of the products they make. So it's really a framework there that's to help you plan that through the stages. So the first stage is awareness, and this is a little bit like the traditional marketing funnel, but we thought we'd apply it more to construction. So awareness is the stage where prospects or specifiers, people that you might want to know about your products, first become aware of your product or your brand. And there's a huge number of different tools and techniques, digital and non-digital, that are still very, very relevant here, but that you can use to get on people's radars and make sure that you're making them aware of what it is you offer. So from a digital point of view, this is things like SEO and pay-per-click, so making sure that your website is really visible to the search engine, so that when a specifier is searching for a particular product that they might need, your ranking, social media, events and PR, all of that kind of awareness building messaging, anything really that can get your name out there to the right people at the right time, whether or not they're in a project. The other thing that's really useful there, of course, is CPD. So particularly RIBA CPD, which carries double points. It's a really great way to get kind of face-to-face with architects and specifiers whenever they're in or outside of a project, to at least get your product and your brand on their radar. And the other thing that really supports this is content marketing. So pushing out really useful, high quality content that solves problems, whether that's blogs, magazines, white papers, webinars, podcasts. There's a lot of different formats out there, and you'll have to work out what's most relevant. But that could be really powerful for building that awareness. Now, what I should have mentioned is around the outside of the cycle, what we've done is kind of map. You'll see the colours kind of map to the RIBA plan of work stages. So that's to show that really that awareness stage could be when someone's in the early stages of a project, or actually outside of a project, and then as the project moves through, the following stages kind of become relevant. Okay, so Next stage is interest. So this is after you create that awareness with someone, is how you would generate more interest in your product. So this is where your website comes in, making sure that information on the website is really clear and easy to use, transparent, searchable, findable, that there's high quality imagery on there. It's amazing how often we see very poor quality shots of manufacturers' products. This is one thing that retail and e-commerce is extremely strong on. The first thing that they start with is high quality product shots. And you can look at things like interactive tools and case studies and other literature that will help build that interest. It's probably worth saying that these first 3 stages may happen over the course of several months, or it might happen over 5 minutes when a specifier becomes aware of you, shows an interest in your product, and then moves through to the next stage, which is selection. But either way, these points of information are still relevant at each stage. So as you get into selection, this is where you need to provide the really powerful tools that are going to allow people to compare, find, select your products and make sure it's the right product for them. So this is where you need that really good quality, standardized, structured product data. You might want to provide tools that allow specifiers and designers to choose which product is right for them, to compare by technical information and performance criteria, make sure they can review your certifications, and if they might need it, access to technical support teams, as well as design information they can use in their digital models, so digital objects or BIM models that they can drop into their projects. Then the specification stage. So this is the really important stage where product decisions are recorded in the specification, and this is where often a lot of the decision making is made, building up through the first stages beforehand. And we've heard that a lot around how this emphasis on the specification is going to become more and more important, and that document really is going to become sacrosanct, and it's going to be the opportunity to swap out products or to break the spec is going to become less, and is really going to become a kind of something that's often frowned upon. So this is why being in the specification is so important. And this is where you could provide specification tools on your website, but also our tools, MBS Chorus and MBS Source, provide the specification platform and all the product data that specifiers need to be able to write their specifications and select products. And what we've just launched in MBS Chorus as well allows manufacturers and specifiers to collaborate together on the specification. So we talked about the theme of collaborating and working together to solve problems. The technology is now there to do that within our specification platform. So that's where it's a real opportunity to work together to build those specifications and to solve those problems. And then that kind of moves through into the construction phase as well, whereas the best way to protect against your product being swapped out and make sure that it ends up in the final build is to be in that specification. And this is where other online collaboration tools and real strong relationships with the design team are essential as well. And then finally is the kind of the re-engagement phase. So after a project is completed, you want to make sure that you're maintaining a relationship with people who have perhaps specified your project before, so that as and when they come to have a need to use your product again, you're kind of there first and foremost on their mind, so that they're likely to use you again. So this is where you can use tools like CRM and digital marketing, relationship building. All of the items really that we covered in the awareness section are useful here, but it's about continuing to nurture and make sure that you maintain those relationships and find ways to educate them about new products and case studies and all of those kind of things. So I'm almost out of time. The final couple of points I would make is absolutely kind of wanting to echo what Adam covered there earlier. Across all of that specification, that marketing cycle, you're obviously looking to push product, but it's absolutely essential that that's done in the right way and that you are using the building blocks around transparency and truth and trust to make sure that product data is not only accurate, but it's completely reliable, it's up to date, and it covers all of the requirements that a specifier would need. And the final point on there really is to make sure that with digital data, it gives you a great opportunity also to highlight your unique selling points in other ways. So if your product is more carbon neutral or more thermally efficient than another, you can highlight that in technical properties so that specifiers can easily find it. So I mentioned obviously the MBS platforms briefly there. So if you weren't aware, MBS Source is our new product data platform that really pushes out all of that data that specifiers need in different formats. And the whole idea really is that MBS Source is useful across that product timeline, project timeline. So in harmony with all the other marketing activities that you might be undertaking, MBS Source gives you access to that huge audience of specifiers and designers, and is useful at every stage. So in closing, it wouldn't be a marketing presentation if I didn't drop in a marketing quote at the end, but I thought this was particularly pertinent, really. So this is an old quote from a real Mad Men ad agency days, but we need to stop interrupting what people are interested in and be what people are interested in. And I would say that absolutely applies to manufacturers' product information. It needs to be relevant, it needs to be timely, and it needs to deliver exactly what the audience need in order to make their selections. So that's it from me. I think we'll be heading over to the Q&A panel in a moment. If you'd like to hear any more about any of these themes, we've got a ton of different webinars available on our events page, and we'll be looking to make the specification marketing cycle that I covered today available as a tool for manufacturers to use as well.
Thanks very much, Robin.